Fancy a career in tech? Then you need to see the tech in Korea. This week, the robots are out of control as they seek, destroy, and do DIY.
Is it wrong to say I'm ever so slightly in love? Hi there, welcome to South Korea, the most advanced country on the planet.
After years of competition with Japan, Korea has conquered the technology world. It has the highest penetration of mobile phones in the world, the fastest internet speeds on the planet. We all use their phones and we all watch their TVs. It's a country that has fully embraced technology, and it's a fantastic place to get a glimpse of what might be possible and practical in the future. And here in Songdo, a smart city built on reclaimed land. The idea is to show what's possible when the Internet of Things becomes a reality and every device, from the heating to the furniture, is online. And when you have a teleconference link to every other apartment, you can use it for anything from learning to catching up with friends to remote ukulele lessons, obviously. And you can use it in any other way that residents would like to communicate with each other. This mock-up control room combines ideas from different Korean startups to show how they might be integrated into a fully functioning system where people, as well as devices, are plugged into the net. If a child who's supposed to be at school suddenly strays from the building, their GPS tag alerts the office, which in turn alerts the community. The child's location is tracked, and the staff get to watch every camera along their route live. Yep. This country really puts technology first in everything it does these days. It has more industrial robots per human worker than anywhere else, making up more than 4% of the workforce. But now, it's time for me to meet a robot that might one day step into my shoes. This is Hubo, and it's about to embark on the toughest test known to robot kind. Next weekend, it's the Darpa Robotics Challenge, when research teams from around the world will show up in California with their bots. The mission? To complete a series of very human tasks with minimal human help. The aim is to accelerate development of robots which can assist humans in dealing with natural and man-made disasters, using machinery designed for humans and on uneven or dangerous ground. Wow! Oh my gosh! Tomorrow, the team pack up and fly out, which means today is the last day of practice around their practice course, which is unbelievably tough. Professor Juno Oh took me on a walkthrough, which starts with something truly amazing: driving a car.
And then, most important thing, he has to egress from the vehicle without any human intervention.
The robot's gonna get out of the car!
By itself, and he has to get down, and he has to walk, and then he has to move to the next target.
How does he get through the door? That's a very low
Because
door.
he will roll.
He's going to roll through.
Yeah.
From there, the test gets even harder. Hubo has to find and close a gas valve, use a freaking drill to cut a hole, pull a handle, push a button, and fight through rough terrain. The aim is to complete the course in the fastest time, and anything under 35 minutes puts them in the running to win the $2 million prize. So that's how it drives. It's got one hand on the roll bar,
Yeah, right hand is
and one hand on the steering wheel.
right.
So, Hubo is ready, the car is running, and we'll come back to this course later. Now, while Hubo may one day be put to use in difficult environments, Jen Copestake has been to see some of the robots already putting themselves at risk.
Samsung Techwin defends peace and happiness.
Samsung is Korea's largest tech company and is synonymous with mobile phones and TVs. Its subsidiary Samsung Techwin is known for weapons like the K9 Thunder self-propelled 155mm howitzer and making engines for aircraft.
Samsung Techwin has successfully performed our role for improving combat capabilities of armed forces.
But they're also experimenting with autonomous robots, and for the first time they've allowed a TV crew into their headquarters to see the autonomous vehicles designed to build total surveillance systems. This is Star M. Using LiDAR sensors and cameras, it's capable of reading its surroundings and can work out for itself the best path to take through rough terrain. Pretty easy! It can follow soldiers with heavy goods or even carry injured people. It can work as a group with other Star M's following it and can link up with other robots, like this lightweight cube copter, designed to communicate aerial intelligence with the Star M and a central command area. The system is designed to create swarm intelligence, using fixed cameras, drones, and autonomous vehicles. Swarm intelligence hasn't been realistic in the past, but combined with Korea's fast internet speeds, it's easier than ever to stream and collect data from different locations and follow targets.
Many people are thinking robotics are, trying to taking their jobs. But actually, I don't want to say that. We are trying to save them by, putting robot in the, very dangerous places and for the tedious jobs.
Techwin's goal is to use these artificial intelligence robots to make people working in difficult environments safer by taking away the tasks that would put humans in danger.
I don't think AI is ready for the outside yet, but that's why I'm here. Eventually, robot will be as a friend to the humans.
You can't really talk about South Korea without mentioning North Korea, which is just over there behind those hills and through this barbed wire. And in actual fact, you can still see the remains of a train line and a bridge that used to connect the two before the war, of course, when it was all destroyed, as was this train. It's amazing to think that you've got such an advanced nation here, right next door to a country so full of poverty and repression. There is still a kind of flow between the two, though. People do make it out of North Korea, and information is getting in. Dave Lee has met the activists who are trying to get that information into North Korea by going over the border.
We've gathered at this rendezvous point in a car park near Seoul, and soon we'll be heading into the night and towards the North Korean border. Activists are planning to literally float balloons into the country, carrying bags stuffed full of USB sticks and DVDs. The group hopes this basic technology can reach ordinary North Koreans and educate them about the outside world. And tonight the bags will contain copies of The Interview, a film said to have angered North Korea so much
This is The Interview.
it launched a devastating cyber attack on movie studio Sony Pictures. But first we must wait for Mr. Park, known to North Koreans simply as Enemy Zero. He's leading the group tonight. Since defecting, he survived assassination attempts and now has 2 armed guards for constant protection. As he arrives, it's clear there's a serious problem.
Henry, what's going on? So Park has just arrived, as you can see, and immediately there are police surrounding him, trying to talk him out of what we're about to do. The local media is now here. We don't know why they know what's going on. We don't know what they're here to film.
The authorities tell us they're stepping in because of increased tension between North and South Korea. With the plans seemingly called off, Activist Thor Halverson bursts into a performance.
You're the chief of police here?
He wants to make sure his voice is heard.
Is this North Korea or South Korea? Here, is this Republic of Korea or is this North Korea?
Oh, there hasn't seemed to have been any kind of agreement. We're at a bit of a stalemate, so the only thing we have to do now is get on the bus.
We'd much rather do our work in peace and get it done. We will be attempting this again.
Around 1,000 people escape North Korea every year, and technology is vital. Smuggled phones provide a connection to the outside world, while having access to foreign TV and films can expose the regime's lies about life beyond North Korea's borders.
Of course, once the material has actually been flown into North Korea, people need a way to watch it, and that's where a device like this comes in handy. This is a no-tell. It's relatively cheap, around $50, and the crucial thing is that as well as being able to watch off a USB stick, you can also watch the DVD from the drive, and that means if you're found with the device, you can pretend you're watching a film you're supposed to, when really you're watching the foreign film on the USB.
After last night's drama, I wanted to catch up with Enemy Zero. We'd heard he'd agreed with the police to call off the action yesterday, and so we wondered if he was going to cancel any future launches. But I found him angry at last night's events, and he insisted the launches would still go ahead.
그런 이제 과학적이고 기술적인 것을 통해서
With the help of technology and science, North Koreans have been getting outside information. When North Korean people figure out that Kim Jong-un is the worst kind of man, then they won't be quiet anymore.
침묵만 하지 않을 거예요.
Activists hope technology can weaken Kim Jong-un, but lately tech has also been the dictator's most devastating weapon. Professor Kim Hyun-kwang taught computer science in Pyongyang for 23 years before defecting to the south. He says his former students have gone on to form North Korea's notorious elite hacking unit, known simply as Bureau 121.
The reason North Korea has been harassing other countries is to demonstrate that they have cyber war capacity. Those cyber attacks could have a similar impact to military attacks, killing people and destroying cities.
We've come to a farm near the border for another attempt at a launch. The farmer here is Mr. Lee. Over the years, he sent thousands of balloons into North Korea, fitted with timers to make sure they release the contents at just the right time.
As you can see, this whole cupboard is full of supplies for the packages they're sending over into North Korea. We need to have a look through here. Some of the things we can see, this is a dollar bill which is being floated in. Many more leaflets, other materials, and in amongst a lot, DVDs like this one. This one has the interview on it, and it's among hundreds of DVDs that are being packaged in and flown over the border via these balloons.
But after about half an hour of waiting around, Mr. Lee suddenly tells us that police visited him earlier and warned him once again against a launch. He also says the wind conditions aren't right and that a wayward balloon could hurt the cause. So we left without seeing the balloons go up. Days later, the activists sent us secret footage of what they say was a successful launch. Many, including the South Korean authorities, worry that what they're doing is putting lives at risk. Others argue that DVDs and USBs are simply too insignificant to alter the huge problems the country faces. But the passionate campaigners here think they are, one balloon at a time, chipping away at a brutal regime.
Another special delivery for Kim Jong-un.
The Hubo robot has begun its final rehearsal of the Darpa Robotics Challenge. And never mind self-driving cars, this is a robot driving a car using controls that were made for humans.
Okay, this is going to be the coolest exit from a car since the Dukes of Hazzard got in one.
This is a real test of balance. Although once out of the car, Hubo reveals he doesn't just have feet, oh no, he has wheels of his own. And in roll mode, he can travel further, faster.
He's got the handle.
Come on, baby. Next, it's time to spin that gas valve. And it's also time to get some help, albeit very limited, from the human team in the control room. Now, the Darpa challenge allows for limited human control, which here means that they can see what Hubo sees and identify the valve for him. Then it's up to the robot to go to it and do the manual work.
It's got the hand on the wheel.
Ah, yes.
turning the gas off.
Handling the drill is an even bigger test. Once it's been identified by the team, it's up to the sensors in Hubo's hand to feel it, find the button and apply the correct pressure to cut a hole.
Robot DIY.
He's feeling the resistance of the drill.
Oh, yes! Down it goes in its freakish transformation stage.
And of course, no robotics challenge would be complete without the mystery task. Yep, the Darpa challenge will contain one task which the teams won't know in advance. Hubo will need to analyse the scene, relay the 3D information back to the humans, and they will need to workshop a solution. Once they've done that in virtual space, they'll upload the instructions back to the bot. In this case, it's pushing a button, which I have to say is no match for this brilliant butch block of silicon.
Is it wrong to say I'm ever so slightly in love? It's probably wrong, isn't it? It's just our secret, right?
Don't know about you, but I need a bit of a sit down. So before Hubo gets to the final part of his challenge, let's take in a few of the other projects here at the Korea Advanced Institute of Science and Technology. KAIST is the MIT of South Korea, with over 10,000 students and over 1,000 researchers, a tiny fraction of whom Jen Copestake and I have been visiting to find out what's going on behind these closed doors.
Here at the Urban Robotics Lab at KAIST, researchers are developing machines to work in unusual places. We've seen a lot of drones here on Click, but never actually one that can climb a wall.
Oh, it's so loud!
And powerful. The drone sticks to the wall with the thrust generated by its 4 rotors, then climbs around the wall using its wheels. It has a camera on the bottoms it can use to inspect difficult-to-reach places, like wind turbines, or it could be used to clean windows on tall buildings with some adaptation. This drone requires no expensive infrastructure to work, and the team says if it falls off, it can easily fly itself back on to where it's meant to be. Right, I'm just gonna go brush my hair. Spen's outside with more urban robotics.
Here's a problem you didn't know Korea had. Jellyfish. They're a nightmare for the fishing industry. They cause about $230 million worth of damage a year. Basically, if they poison a fish, you can't then eat it. Jellyfish also cause $70 million worth of damage to power plants by blocking their inlet pipes. Well, here is the solution, and it's not for the faint-hearted. So if you have a weak stomach, go and do something else for a few minutes. Because these are jellyfish hunting robots. And when they find the jellyfish, they shred them.
It's a serious enough problem for the Korean government to fund the project. The robots themselves behave like a swarm. One robot is the leader and the others follow in formation. The machines are fitted with cameras which guide them into position, netting the jellyfish and then doing the bit you probably don't want to see. So here it is. Yeah. Okay, let's deal with the main thing that's going through your mind right now. Is this cruel?
I think it is not cruel because the jellyfish doesn't have brain and they are just some kind of plankton, and we can shred them because they are just like the plant.
At the moment, these things are guided to the general area of a swarm by jellyfish detecting buoys. However,
soon these guys are going to have aerial support. A drone will fly above the sea and use image recognition to spot jellyfish swarms and then instruct these guys on where to go so the mincing can begin.
Now, leaving what is essentially a venomous jellyfish smoothie in the sea isn't such a great idea ecologically, so the next version of these chaps will catch the swarm in a cage and take them to shore, where they'll be minced and used in cosmetics. It's a hard life being a jellyfish.
may well be in the minority, but I love 3D cinema, so the promise of a similar experience without the cumbersome glasses was something I had to see for myself.
There's 3 screens here. There's the normal one straight in front of me, there's one to my left, and one to my right for a total immersive experience.
Invented at the Visual Media Lab at KAIST, Screen X aims to change how we watch films, immersing the viewer by using the cinema's 3 walls to give a 270-degree viewing experience. Unlike proprietary systems like IMAX, Screen X uses a small number of relatively inexpensive projectors, which can be installed in cinemas anywhere in the world. Turn the projectors off and the cinema can be used again for regular films. This tech has been around for a couple of years, but there haven't really been any full-length feature films screened. Most of the content has been commercials. Designing movies for this format has many challenges and expenses for the film crew.
One challenge would be to use 3 different cameras to cover 3 sides, 270 degrees. So that will give you some challenge, because if you use only one camera to shoot a movie, that like a staff can be hide behind the camera. But the 3 camera, there's no place to hide.
And it's actually kind of terrifying thinking you might have a ghost or something coming up behind you on the side.
The first full-length movie release for Screen X will be later this month in Korea, with plans to bring the screens to Europe in 2016, and possibly using the ceiling as well.
And finally, back to Hubo, who so far made mincemeat of the robotic challenge.
We call Bulldozer Mode.
Bulldozer Mode.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Now it's time for some brute force. The robot has to pick his way through this rubble field.
So he's got bulldozer knee pads, or feet. What's it going to do?
I don't know.
This looks like a bit of a challenge here, because there's a lot of debris to bulldoze through.
Yeah, he survived.
Now he's just got to go left, so he's pushing everything to the right.
Oh! This is dangerous, dangerous.
Nearly went over.
Okay. Okay, he survived.
I'm nervous now.
He escaped.
The last part of the test is to walk over some rough terrain, and for this, Hubo calls on his final bizarre form.
Bird walking.
Bird walking, yeah, okay. This is the final part of the challenge. Yeah. It needs to mount the podium.
So strong. He's 80 kilograms.
80 kilograms. He's slightly heavier than me. Just doing it. Last step. Yeah. Last step, Hubo.
You brought all the luck.
I brought all the luck. All we need now is an Arnold Schwarzenegger mask, and we can all be satisfied that the rise of the machines has happened.
I just can't believe it. Hubo has completed the course. It's taken 38 minutes. The team were aiming for 35. So on their last day of rehearsal, they're close.
So I wish this team behind Hubo all the very best of luck in the Darpa challenge. If this is the level that we've got to with robotics, then, well, we're all in trouble. And that's it from Click in Korea for this week. We've got another Korea special for you next week. In the meantime, we're on Twitter at BBC Click, and our website is bbc.co.uk/click. Thank you so much for joining me on that adventure. It's been fantastic. We'll see you next week.
Team KAIST Hubo 화이팅! 오빤 강남 스타일. 강남 스타일. 오빤 강남 스타일. 오빤 강남 스타일.